Omega threat. Eliminated. 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 Bro, how is X-Men 97 so far? Well, let me start off by saying I wanted to wait a little bit longer until I watched the rest of the remaining episodes before I speak my mind, because I was like, wait a minute, things are going great now. What if they do something that might piss me off and might make me go back on my words? But after watching the first 5 episodes, I am having a blast so far. I think it's great. X-Men 97 really reinvigorates that feeling of watching an awesome Saturday morning cartoon. I mean, one of the best Saturday morning cartoons. Well, next to Batman, the animated series, of course. And I'm just loving everything about this series so far. So I know I've done a few videos about X-Men 97, mostly reaction videos to like some of the trailers and short promos they put out, except for the second video I did, which was titled X-Men 97 Help Me Understand the Haters, because I remember before the show even aired, there was all of this negative feedback I was seeing on social media and on YouTube amongst divided fans. Like, there was still a good amount of fans who appreciate the show, but there's also a subset of fans who are calling the show woke trash and it's not worth checking out because they're going to ruin it. And yeah, that video I did was pretty topical because I've gotten a lot of replies, but I did reply to a lot of people saying, okay, I'm listening to you guys, I'm hearing you out, but hear me out. I feel like I can't really judge this show until I watch these episodes and see how the story plays out, because as long as the stories are entertaining enough for me, then I think I will be fine. I will be able to overlook small things that people seem to have an issue with. But yeah, to those conflicted fans out there, I will say that so far, within the first 5 episodes that aired on Disney Plus. By the way, yeah, I had to wait a while to watch these episodes. Well, watched them through my own means, because I'm not subscribed to Disney Plus, and I still refuse to subscribe to Disney Plus. I have my reasons. Even back when people were telling me to watch Loki and WandaVision, around that time I was losing my faith in the MCU, so I just didn't care. And I have completely lost my faith in the MCU, with the exception of Deadpool and Wolverine coming out later this year. That is probably the only MCU movie that will get me back in theaters to watch a Marvel film. But yeah, I had to wait to watch this through my own means, and I finally caught up on all 5 episodes, and X-Men 97, to me, so far, is fire. This show is awesome. So, yeah, finally, I gave it a chance, and I love it. So let's get into it with these episodes. I don't know how long this video is going to go on for, because there's just so much to cover within the first 5 episodes, but I'll try to be brief. So the first episode was titled To Me, My X-Men, where this group of, I don't know what you would call them, mutant rebellionists, basically a group of people with, using like Sentinel parts to help them combat mutants. And they end up capturing Sunspot. I think its name is Sunspot. If I'm wrong, please correct me. So the X-Men shows up, they save Sunspot, they bring him back to the X-Mansion, or Xavier School for the Gifted, and you get to see the rest of the remaining X-Men crew, and it just brought a smile to my face seeing the X-Men together again in animated form. And Trask, forgot his first name, or was it his last name? Well, anyways, Trask shows up later on in the episode with Master Mold, and if you don't know who Master Mold is, he's pretty much the supercomputer of Sentinels. He's the Super Sentinel. And yeah, X-Men fight all these Sentinels, and I had a smile on my face again, because sometimes it's small things like that just I get joy out of, just seeing the X-Men group up and fight these Sentinels left and right, and it was just fun. It's just pure fun, and they acknowledged that Storm is an Omega level mutant, and she does her thing to help take out a crap load of Sentinels, right? And they take care of Master Mold. So this episode ends on sort of a cliffhanger. I think all these episodes end on a cliffhanger, and the cliffhanger is Magneto showing up to the X-Mansion, stating that everything that Charles Xavier left behind now belongs to him. So he pretty much wants to take over for Charles Xavier, but I don't know. I noticed ever since Magneto showed up to take over for Charles, shit has been going south for the X-Men left and right, so I'm starting to wonder if he had like some secret plan behind the scenes to, I guess, rip the X-Men apart from the inside, right? But I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how everything plays out in the rest of the remaining episodes. So anyways, this leads us into episode 2, titled Mutant Liberation Begins, where the United Nations wants to bring in Magneto, I guess, to judge him for his actions. And one of the mutant rebellionists shows up in this costume, and he calls himself the Executioner. And I guess he leads, or no, was he leading a group of other people? I can't remember. But basically, it was an ambush attack on the United Nations to get to Magneto. And he's about to shoot Magneto with this special weapon he made to depower him. But Storm sees this, she jumps in the way, takes the shot for Magneto. She ends up losing her powers. Magneto sees this. He looks back at the United Nations and like, alright, I'm pissed off. Like, this is what you guys wanted all along. You wanted to bring us down to your level. So I'm just going to lift everyone up into the sky. And he does that along with Executioner. And I'm thinking he's going to drop them. But he doesn't. Because he's giving this speech calling everyone a bigot and how, like, everyone's hypocrites. And, you know, he tried to do things the civil way, but there was a time he would have killed everyone like ants, but he's trying to be better and do things the Charles Xavier way, I guess, the Professor X way. So, long story short, things ends up working out for Magneto, I guess. And it ends on a... Oh, wait, how can I skip? I glossed right over this, sorry. Yes, during this... While all of this is going down, Jean Grey is about to give birth. She's going into labor, so she's about to give birth to Nathan Summers, who comic book fans know it turns out to be Cable, who, you know, is the man from the future. Yes, so I glossed right over that, sorry. Yeah, she goes into labor, and Wolverine has to rush her to the hospital, and the doctors will not do a C-section on her, so Rogue absorbs the doctor's knowledge to give birth to, or to help Jean Grey give birth, but later we find out that, was it really Jean Grey this entire time? What? Yeah, so this episode ends on a cliffhanger with a Jean Grey clone, or no, sorry, another Jean Grey that is confusing me because, well, at first it confused me. I was like, wait a minute, okay, is this a clone? What's going on here? So anyways, Jean Grey shows up to her door, or shows up to their doorstep while Jean Grey is already there, but all of this is revealed in episode 3 called Fire Made Flesh. So it's revealed that the Jean Grey that showed up to their front door is the real Jean Grey, while the other one that gave birth to Scott Summers was a clone this entire time. A clone made by the evil man himself, Mr.Sinister. Like, this is part of his plan all along, because he wants the child to conduct experiments, and that's how you get to sort of see the origins of Cable with this techno-organic virus, I guess. So anyways, yeah, Sinister sort of have like this mind control over this clone, who she goes by the identity of Madeline Pryor, I think, aka the Goblin Queen, right? So she changed into the Goblin Queen. She warps the reality around the X-Men at the X-Mansion, and everything is pretty much revealed like a horror movie. It's really weird and kind of creepy that what the X-Men are going through with Goblin Queen warping their reality and making them seeing all this weird, fucked up stuff, right? But later on, the X-Men has to go to the hideout of Mr. Sinister to rescue Nathan Summers. They end up battling Goblin Queen. She is definitely overpowered for them to handle. She even gave Magneto a run for his money. But the original Jean Grey ends up battling her within their minds, I guess, because they have like some psychic battle without physically being there together. Really cool stuff, right? So eventually they make it to Nathan Summers, but it's too late. Mr. Sinister already conducted his experiments on him, and Beast is trying to find ways to cure the baby, but he's saying, yeah, okay, there's no medicine, there's nothing here that can cure him in our time, but maybe in Bishop's timeline. So basically they want to give the baby up to Bishop so he can return to his timeline to find a cure, and Scott Summers is like, I can't be a part of this because I don't want to abandon my child. And yeah, it's pretty rough on Scott Summers, and you know, Jean Grey or the Goblin Queen, whoever, decides to give up the baby to Bishop so he can return to his timeline to help cure Nathan Summers. So this ends on sort of a cliffhanger with Storm in the bar. She runs into Forge, because Storm, I think she ends up leaving in episode 2. I forgot, I glossed right over that. Yeah, Storm leaves the group in episode 2, so I forgot to mention that. I apologize. But she runs into Forge in at the end of episode 3, because Forge wants to help her regain her powers, right? So this leads us into episode, let's see, this is episode 3, Fire Made Flesh. This is, okay, so I'm going to get the numbers of these episodes confused, but I'm going to try my best to correct myself. So this leads us into episode 4, titled Motendo / Life Death Part 1, which is technically sort of 2 episodes in one. I don't know, it's kind of weird that they're doing this, but whatever. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. So yeah, there's so much to cover in episode 4 and 5, but I'll do my best to go quickly. So basically, Motendo starts out with the group having conversation around the table, discussing what to do for Jubilee's birthday, because it's her birthday, and she wants to go to the arcades, right, to relive the glory days of being in the arcades, and Magneto's not having it. So she goes to her room with Sunspot, and I guess they see this console called Motendo, and I think they stated they haven't even seen it before, or they haven't even heard of it before. But it's funny because it's called Motendo, but the console is shaped like a Sega Genesis, and if you paid attention to the cartridge, I don't know if it was the same box art on that, or I don't know if it was the same cartridge, but it was definitely I guess a callback or a nostalgic moment to the old school X-Men game that came out for Sega Genesis. So I guess it was accurate since the console itself was shaped like a Sega Genesis, but it was called Motendo, which was hilarious. But it's called that for a reason, because all of this techno-organic crap comes out of the console, latches on to Jubilee and Sunspot, and they're being transported inside the video game world that Mojo created, right? Because it was all his doing, and they eventually run into Mojo. It's revealed that he's lost a bit of weight. He looked like he's gone through some liposuction. You can see some of the skin is kind of like hanging off his bones. So he still looks pretty grotesque, but he stated that he needs Jubilee to play this game to get ratings. And I guess by doing this, it regains his powers. Because while they're going through this game, right, you can see like he's powering up or charging up. It was like a quick moment though, like a quick shot where he charges up and he becomes like fat and overweight again. Like he becomes basically the Mojo we all know and love. So as they're going through this game, they are constantly being helped out by some secret character who later on it's revealed that it's a older version of Jubilee. At this point, I was like, what the hell is going on? Is this another clone? What? But it turns out that it was just some program, I guess, created by Mojo because he needed beta testers for this video game universe that he created. So basically, old Jubilee and the real Jubilee team up to take out Mojo. And oh yeah, we see like Spiral in this episode, so it's fun seeing her again. And they make it out, both Jubilee and Sunspot make it out of the this weird Motendo universe. And they have their little cute moment where they kiss. And this leads us into the second portion of the episode called Life Death Part 1, where we see Forge and Storm hanging out as he works endlessly around the clock trying to help her get her powers back, right? But then, like, it's revealed that he was the one who helped the government build, like, these collars to what's the word I'm thinking of? To suppress? Yeah, to suppress the mutant powers. And Storm is like, so you know what these things do, right? You were in leagues with the government this entire time. And he's like, no, some guy over in like, was it Italy or Russia? Or no, not Russia. It was like Italy or Europe helped created these collars. And but Storm, I love you. And this, to me, was kind of weird because it came out of nowhere. And she just like slapped him and decided to leave. But, as she leaves, I think she runs into this other mutant that ends up attacking Forge. See, now I'm getting confused with these episodes because I can't remember if all of this happens in the same episode or if it happened in episode 5. But I think... I want to say, I think it happened in episode 4. Yeah, this is what happens when you mix two episodes in one. But title it like episode 4. But anyways, she runs into like this weird bird owl looking mutant thing that I don't recall what that mutant is or from. But this particular weird bird mutant has like a warp on reality as well, almost like Madeline Pryor. But anyways, let's just jump into the episode 5, which was the talk of the week, which everyone is talking about. And after seeing it for myself, now I know why. So this episode is titled Remember It, and it involves Rogue, Magneto, and Gambit. They all go to Genosha, which went through a major rehaul or major remodeling, where all of these mutants are together on this island and just having, I guess, fun. It's almost like paradise, I guess. And we also are introduced or reintroduced to another favorite mutant of mine. Nightcrawler shows up, so it's fun seeing him interact with Gambit and Rogue. So yeah, Magneto talks to, I want to say his name is Sebastian Shaw. Is it Sebastian Shaw and Emma Frost? I'm forgetting the name of, well, anyways, the leaders of the Hellfire Club. If you know, you know. Yeah, they end up talking. He's like, yeah, I'll be leader of Genosha under one condition. Basically, he wants Rogue to be by his side as his queen, to rule beside him, I guess. And so she goes to Gambit to talk about their, I guess, this affair that she had with Magneto in the past. And, Magneto's like, or no, it's not Magneto, sorry. Gambit is like, all right, well, I respect that you came to me with this honesty, and you know what? That's all. We're just friends. That's all we are. We're just friends to each other. So, no big deal. And he just ends up walking away from her because, she stated that, hey, she can't touch him, but she can touch Magneto due to his, electric magnetic field that allows him to touch Rogue without worrying about Rogue absorbing his powers. So later on, they go to the the Hellfire Gala, whatever it's called, at the Genosha Island, and Rogue shows up in a dress, ends up having this dancing moment, or intimate dancing moment, with Magneto. Of course, poor Gambit, he's watching this, but he ends up walking away. And you hear this voice, right? This voice screaming, "Turn off the music! Turn off the music!" And I'm like, wait a minute, is that Cable? Turns out it was Cable. So he shows up in front of Madeline Pryor, stating that, "Oh no, I'm too late. I'm sorry, Mom." And she's like, "Sorry for what?" And he goes back to his timeline. There's this huge explosion. Everyone's getting evaporated left and right. I'm like, what the shit is going on? What? Like, this is no longer, this is no longer a mild show. Like, shit is going down. Like, what? So this super ultra Omega level Sentinel shows up, like this Omega level Tri-Sentinel, because he has like the 3 faces, the 3 heads, but the body wasn't like of a typical Sentinel. So he's just eradicating mutants left and right. And Magneto is like, "Oh, hell no, I'm gonna try to stop this," right? Throws a train at it, continuously tries to bash it with this train, but it's not really doing much. So he gets blown back for a little while, right? While Rogue and Gambit teams up in awesome X-Men fashion, trying to like save people, or sorry, other mutants, right? They're trying to save other mutants, and eventually this Omega level Sentinel, right, goes Omega threat, or Omega level mutant detected, right? And it's like targeting Magneto. And Magneto's trying to save the Morlocks. At the same time, he's trying to cover up Rogue and Gambit in all this metal because he's trying to save them. And this Sentinel just eradicates Magneto and the Morlocks. I'm like, what the shit is going on? So Rogue gets pissed, right? She charges at the Sentinel. He's about to eradicate her. But then Gambit comes out on this motorcycle, charges up the motorcycle, and like kind of just steers the motorcycle towards her to knock her out of the I guess the blast radius, or out of the radius of the Sentinel's targeting system. So all of a sudden, Gambit is like, "All right, I see your bet," and I raise it. So he's running towards this giant Omega weird Tri-Sentinel thing, right? And like the Sentinel just like, I think, was it one of his legs? It was one of his legs, or like some kind of cable or something. Well, anyways, this rod, this giant like weird tentacle rod that came out of the Sentinel and punctures Gambit in the side, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm on the edge of my seat at this point. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And he's like bleeding out. I'm like, what the shit? And like all of a sudden, you see, well, the camera's close up on Gambit's on his mouth, and you see a smirk, and he goes, "The name's Gambit, mon ami. Remember it." Or no. Before he says remember it, he charges up the Sentinel with his blood. He charges up the Sentinel with his own blood. I'm like losing my mind at this point. I'm like, what the fuck? This is so fucking dope. And he goes, "Remember it." And just boom, this huge ass explosion goes off, eradicating the Sentinel. It was the ultimate sacrifice. I'm like, what the fuck? What the shit is going on? And of course, back at the X-Mansion, the rest of the crew seeing the aftermath on the TV. And oh man, just a heartbreaking moment of Rogue holding Gambit's lifeless body, going, "Sweetie, I can't feel anything." I'm like, oh, this show is trying to rip my heart out, man, whoa, this show, 10 out of 10. Damn it, I knew my camera was reaching a limit where it was going to stop recording, so I might edit some stuff out of my final thoughts here. So I'll just say thanks for watching. Stay awesome. I am really enjoying X-Men 97 so far. My speculations, a lot of things are going to get resolved through the work of Cable, and I speculate Storm might get her powers back eventually, but we will see. Alright guys, later. Stay awesome.